Hello, welcome to Wildwood Teaching. I'm Nicole Dravillas Fravel, and depending on when you are watching this video, it is Earth Day, it is Earth Week, it is Earth Month, which means it's soapbox time, right? It's the time of year when everybody takes one day out of their life to focus on solutions to help our planet and then puts it away for the rest of the year. So instead, I really want to focus today on how to create children who can be nature stewards throughout their life. So like much of what we do in preschool, we're focused really not on the present, but on the future of what those children are going to become and the tools that they are going to need to become those future humans. And I also believe that, one of the purposes of bringing children outside, there are a myriad of benefits, obviously, to bringing children outside, to connecting them to nature. But one of those benefits and one of the things that we want to really foster in outdoor programs and bringing children outside is their connection to nature, so that we're looking at society and our planet broader than what's happening right in our program. And so I'm going to kind of talk about the wrong way and the right way to go about growing those future planetary stewards. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about what doesn't work. And we have some examples of this. In the 1980s, in response to the Chernobyl disaster, the recognition of the hole in the ozone layer, widespread pollution, Germany decided that they were going to create a national curriculum for everybody in their country, really focused on the problems in the environment. And their hope was that by introducing these problems to children, and they would inspire the children to create solutions. Unfortunately, when they did the follow-up study when the children were adults, they found that the opposite had happened. The children had actually become disempowered by all of the problems, and really felt like they couldn't do anything, and so they didn't do anything. And in another vein, in Beyond Ecophobia, David Sobel reports on a study that was undertaken by one of his graduate students. What the student did was go into a second grade classroom and kind of presented these children with photographs of like a wide range of images. Toys like teddy bears, wild animals, a photograph of the earth, families doing something together, just a wide range of images, and asked the children to choose an important photograph, right? Something that was important. And now, one particular class of second graders had been in the midst of an Earth Week theme at that particular time. And so, every single one of those children, they knew the correct answer, right? They, picked out the picture of the planet Earth and, really despondently regurgitated all the facts they knew about how fragile the earth is and, how important it is that we take care of the earth and recycle and do other things to take care of our planet. All of the other children who were not in that class, they picked things like their teddy bear, right? They picked a toy and excitedly told the graduate student all about everything that they do with their teddy bear and how they sleep with it and how important it is to them. And they picked out their families, a picture of a family, and told the researcher all the fun things that their family does with each other or the things that their parents do for them. And they were able to really talk about what was special and really connect to it. And so the idea here is that when we talk about conservation, when we talk about recycling, children get the message. They know it. They know what they're supposed to say, but they don't have a connection to it. They aren't excited about it. They don't love it the way that they love their families, their special toys. And, so also we talk about, children needing something that is, especially young children, something that's concrete, something that they can grab onto. And I mean, this next one should be pretty obvious, right? Remaining indoors is not the way to grow nature stewards. And, a lot of times we adults, we think about the risk factors involved in being outside, right? Or we think about inclement weather. It's raining, it's cold, we don't want to be outside right now. And Richard Louv reported when he was interviewing children for The Future of Childhood that, again, children absorb this message, and they prefer to remain inside because it's safer. But at the same time, they have a tremendous amount of worry and stress about nature. And so there's this disconnect for the children. Okay. And so everything that we're doing here, in terms of talking to the children only about the problems, but not connecting them to the joy and beauty of nature, they've shown definitely in adults, and for children as well, it's paralyzing. It's a disconnection, a disassociation, and you start to think, well, what can one human do? And therefore, it is pointless. And so, really, what we want to focus on are ways that research shows how we can grow nature stewards. And so, it's a group of people from Cornell did a study called Nature and the Life Course, and that's Nancy Wells and Christy Leckys. And what they found was that children who spend time in nature before age 11, so in that early childhood, before age 8 time, are more likely to grow up to care about the environment. And specifically, what they found is that wild experiences, are what led to these future nature stewards. And what wild experiences mean is that they are unmediated by adults. So children were able to explore on their own, and decide what they wanted, to investigate. So not necessarily a guided hike or you should think this is really important, but creating that connection. And they also found that that the more time children spent, the more highly connected or correlated, that connection in adulthood. And, I can definitely say that I spent a lot of wild time in the forest. I grew up in the 70s and early 80s, before parents really had a tight leash on their children. our property backed right up against state protected forest. And, my friends and I, that's what we did during the day. We wandered into the forest. And it has created someone who feels like their mission is to create that connection for other people, so that we can start taking care of the planet. Now, so back to David Sobel again, he also did a map making study, which is, fairly famous. And what he found was that for young children, and which is, until age 7 about, when they draw a map, their homes, their backyards are the center of their maps. And only as children get older do they think about the wider world. And so what that means is that in early childhood, you want to match the activities, match children's engagements with their development, which, as Lucy Sprague Mitchell says, the founder of Bank Street, that children need to focus on the here and now. You're starting local, starting with what's important to them, and then later moving out. So when we talk about some rainforest far away or the melting polar ice caps, yes, children can hear that, but they're not developing a connection to it. They can't develop empathy to something they can't touch. And so when we are talking to children, again, we want to focus on the here and now. We want to give them those experiences. And again, David Sobel spent a lifetime studying this. So, he talked to environmentalists, people whose job, careers, life are dedicated to the natural world, and they attributed their commitment to a combination of wild time in nature, many, many hours spent outdoors, and also having an adult who taught them, who modeled for them this respect for nature. And so that's what we want to provide in early childhood programs. And so at Wildwood Nature School, we do this often through our parent caregiver sessions. As Rachel Carson says, I advise all guardians of young children to look for opportunities to share nature's wonder and excitement as an emotional foundation for a lifetime of curiosity and connection with nature. And we know that parents are children's first teachers, but we also know that we count. We, as early childhood teachers, count as guardians of young children, people who can model connections to nature for young children. And so I just want to leave you with a video of a parent who shared this video with me, who talked about how before coming to Wildwood Nature School, he used to have his child spend a lot of time indoors, and the child had a lot of toys and still has a lot of toys indoors. But, he would pick up a toy, play with it for a minute or two, put it down, play with it for a minute, or play with the next one for a minute or two. And it was just kind of chaos. And then through Wildwood Nature School, he discovered how much attention and focus his child had outside. And now not only are they developing this bond with nature, but a bond with each other. And so he shared a video when this child's baby brother was taking a nap. The dad and child embark on a project to create a walking stick. They found a good one. They're currently in the video sanding it. They have a plan to paint it, decorate it further. And so they are able to bring this connection that they had outside into their home.
Good job.
So, I encourage you to get the children outside. Doesn't have to be super planned. We're trying to
Good
create a
job.
connection. And then join me here next week when we will be talking about using feathers across the preschool
Good job.
curriculum. I will see you there.